Every day of the school year, some 46,000 South Dakota students are transported to and from school in 1,200 school buses. The drivers of these buses have one of the toughest jobs in the public schools. Every minute that a bus is in operation, the safety and welfare of every student, the driver, and the bus itself depends on the driver's skill and judgment. The safety and welfare of the passengers, the bus, and the driver also depends upon you, the student. Students are responsible for a full range of safety techniques when an emergency situation calls for it. This videotape is for the student to better understand his or her responsibilities in case the driver is injured and can't perform his duties. First, we'll take a look at the pre-trip inspection that each bus driver does each day before he or she leaves on their daily bus route. The pre-trip inspection includes making sure that all windows on the bus are clear for good visibility. Clean all mirrors so that the driver can see out of them clearly. Check to make sure windshield wipers are in good working order. Take a look under the hood and make sure that there aren't any visual signs of mechanical problems. Check the oil and the radiator. Make sure that all the lights are clean and that both the low and the high beams are working. Check the service door. Make sure that it is working properly. The door should open smoothly without any jam-ups or slips. Check the wheels and tires. Make sure they are in good, safe operating condition. Be sure to check all lights and warning signals are working. The lights and warning signals are overhead yellow warning lights and overhead red stop lights. Check all turn signals. The emergency door should be checked to make sure that it opens and that the buzzer works when it is open. Check to make sure that the seats are clear of all debris and that the seats are fastened down properly. Students should also know some of the operational procedures of the bus. Students never know when they might need to use the following. Know where the ignition switch is so you can turn the bus on and off. The overhead warning and stoplight switches and how to operate them. The emergency brake that is used every time students get on and off the bus is located down to the right of the bus driver. To put the emergency brake on, you pull it toward you. To release it, you push it toward the front of the bus. The control panel, which is to the left of the bus driver when he sits down. This panel has the switches for dome lights, the wipers, and the heater fan. And every student should know how to open and operate the rear emergency door. Both the bus driver and you, the student, can make loading passengers a safe operation. When being picked up from the opposite side of the road, wait until the bus has come to a complete stop and the red flashing stoplights are flashing. The bus driver will put on the emergency brake and look for traffic. Then you wait for the bus driver to wave you across. Sometimes, cars don't see the flashing red lights and will pass the bus illegally. If this happens to you, try and observe the driver's license plate and make of car. Report both to your teacher or the bus driver. When you are on the same side of the road or street as the bus, stay back away from the side of the road so the driver can have a good view of all pedestrians. The bus will stop 10 feet in front of you. Again, wait for the bus to come to a complete stop and the red stoplights are blinking. While loading a bus at a school or social event, try to get organized. Get in single file. This makes it easier for the bus driver to count so everyone is accounted for. Don't rush to the door. Someone could get hurt. While on the bus, your behavior will play a big part in how successful your bus ride is. Here are some things you should not do. Don't bring any pea shooters or slingshots along. If you bring footballs or basketballs, keep them in your seat. Don't be throwing them around the bus. It is very distracting for the bus driver, and someone could be injured. There is absolutely no smoking on the bus. Don't crowd or shove or argue, and certainly don't fight. Do not talk to the bus driver unless absolutely necessary. Your distraction could cause an accident. Remain seated while on the bus. Don't stand around. If there is an accident, you would have a good chance of being seriously injured. Let's take a look at what you do when there is a small breakdown on the bus, such as a flat tire or a leaking radiator hose. Take the flares from their container, which usually looks like this. Place one to the side of the bus. Place one 100 feet to the rear of the bus, and the other one 100 feet to the front of the bus. This is done so oncoming traffic is warned that there is trouble with the bus and to warn them to slow down. At this point in time, the bus driver may ask one of you to go get help, or ask one of you to watch the bus while he or she goes and gets help. 3 other things to be aware of on the bus. Each bus is equipped with a fire extinguisher. Know where it is placed and how to use it. There is always a first aid kit on your bus. Be sure to ask your bus driver where the first aid kit is. Most, but not all buses, have some sort of two-way radio. You may want to ask the driver or your teacher how to operate the radio in case of an emergency. If you are ever in an accident involving a bus, you have 2 main escape routes. They are the rear emergency door, the front service door. You will want to exit the rear emergency door whenever possible. The best way to exit is to have the 2 biggest boys or girls sitting in the rear of your bus. You will want to have a leader in the front. To exit, the leader will get up, shut off the ignition switch, and the 2 in the rear will open the rear emergency door. Get out and proceed to help the other passengers out of the bus. As you file out, listen to the leader in the front. He or she will let you out row by row. Don't rush or push. This will make the evacuation much longer than if you just relax and go in an orderly fashion. The front escape is done basically the same way. This time, the leader gets up, shuts off the ignition switch, opens the front service door, and then waits at the bottom of the steps of the front service door and helps the other passengers off the bus. Again, don't rush so that you have a smooth evacuation. Get a good distance from the bus in case of a possible fire or blow-up. There is one other evacuation procedure. If the rear emergency door and the front service door are jammed shut or inaccessible, you will want to evacuate through the windows. By law, South Dakota bus windows have to be at least 9 inches tall and 24 inches wide, so there is plenty of room for students and adults to go through. There is also, in some buses, knockout split-sashed windows that, if kicked, will pop out for easy escape. Don't try to get the driver or unconscious passengers off the bus. Your main objective is to get to safety. If, of course, you know that if you don't pull the passengers or the bus driver off, that death would occur, then use your own best judgment. Otherwise, get to safety and wait for emergency or law enforcement personnel. Let them take control of the situation from there. A preventive measure for serious bus accidents is stopping at all railroad tracks. By law, all buses have to stop at railroad tracks. The bus approaches the tracks, stops, and opens the front service door. The bus driver will look down the tracks both directions, close the door, and proceed. Unloading passengers can help the driver make unloading a safe operation. When unloading, to get to the opposite side of the street, unload in an orderly way. Don't rush or push. When out of the bus, walk along the side of the road or street until you are 10 feet in front of the bus. Wait until the driver checks for traffic and waves you across. Be sure to check for traffic before crossing. When you unload on the same side of the bus, unload without rushing or pushing and walk away from the bus so that the driver can observe all pedestrians. Fortunately, bus accidents don't occur that often in South Dakota. But if you are ever involved in such an accident, don't panic. Use the evacuation procedures that you have just learned. Each student should be familiarized with their bus so they can take control of the situation. Ask your principal or school superintendent to let you practice these evacuation procedures. Remember, safe busing is everyone's responsibility.
That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Now that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Let me tell you, damn guys ain't dumb. Maybe get a pistol on your little finger. Maybe get a